Hey guys, welcome back to another AB video, and today we're going to be showing you the best game modes to play Jessie in. We're going to cover the best and worst ones, and then we're going to show you a hidden mechanic that a lot of people don't know about. Then we're going to give a few basic tips on how to get the best out of Jessie and have the most potential. And I also was first globally with her a few times, so I do know what I'm talking about. It's going to be great, and let's get right into the game modes. But before we get into that, let's look at the Brawler overview. So Jessie is a fighter in the Trophy Road, and Jessie's shock rifle shoots energy orbs that bounce between enemies. Her super deploys a cute but deadly gun turret. So right now I have her at power 10 and I have both star powers, the first being Energize, where she can repair her gun turret for 800 of its missing health by zapping it, and the other is Shocky, where her turret now shoots orbs that bounce between enemies. The orbs after have a 51% bounce of normal range. She's a 3 out of 5 offense and a 2 out of 5 defense and a 4 out of 5 utility, and her super is Scrappy. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's whatever. And anyway, looking at her more advanced stats, she has 448 health, her movement speed is normal, her attack, Shock Rifle, has 1176 damage, it is long ranged, and she has a normal reload speed. And looking at her super, her turret has a 4200 HP, 364 damage per shot, and a long range. So yeah, that is her basic stats, and now let's go on and look at the game modes. So starting off with her best mode, we have Gem Grab in the A tier. Jessie is really good in Gem Grab because as a gem carrier or support, depending on your comp, her turret can really help her win her lane and provide protection to her whole team. It's great at providing pressure, and she can also take out groups or spawners on the other team. It's even better if you can purposely make them group up by getting another teammate to push their enemy lane into yours. Jessie is really good, but in the end, there are other brawlers that outshine her in support or carrier, and they even have more health and mobility, which is the main reason why she's not going to be getting the S tier. And also, a lot of Gem Grab maps do have a lot of bushes. So yeah, that's Gem Grab. Let's go into Brawl Ball. And from Gem Grab, we move on to Brawl Ball in the A- tier. And by the way, we put the minus there because we feel that she's a bit weaker than the A tier, but not quite B tier. But anyway, Jessie is a great ball carrier and has tons of control, which is really what you want in Brawl Ball. Her turret can provide lots of pressure against both range and tanks, and her bounce shots can also push back enemies. On top of that, her bounce shots are really effective because when the enemies stack up to goaltend, she can hit and get tons of value off of it. But at the moment, a lot of people know how to play smart and juke around and take out her turret, which is why she's not A tier and she's in the A- tier. Up next, we have Siege in the B+ tier because, once again, she's not quite A tier, but she's definitely higher than the B tier brawlers. And the reason we put her here is because she has lots of range, control, and can counter tanks, which is overall what you want in Siege. She can poke at enemies and it'll bounce around to annoy the other team, and it can bounce off the ike and hit other enemies or vice versa. And her shots are really fast and it's easy to deal massive amounts of damage. She can definitely also build up that super and throw it near the ike so that it'll give you even more damage and support. But in the end, once again, there are definitely other choices like Penny or even Mr. P that are a lot better, and that's why she's staying in the B+ tier. Similar to Siege, we do have Heist, which she's not quite as good, but her shots are slightly better for countering tanks, and for defense. But she does lack the damage, which she makes up with her turret, but damage is so valuable in Heist, which is why she's going to stay in the B tier. Next up, we have Showdown, and we have duos in the C tier and solos in the D tier. For the main reason that we put the Showdown in this tier is mainly because Jessie's not a terrible choice for duos, and her shots do have a lot of value if you can find people grouped up, and her turret also does keep enemies back. Although with these pros, she does lack the mobility, and in Showdown, mobility is really important. There are 100% better options over Jessie like Crow or Leon. And similar to duos, we put Stolos slightly lower in the D tier because she lacks mobility, she doesn't have a turret, she can't burst damage, and really it takes so long to get your first box. And because Showdown is a fast-paced mode and people are constantly moving around, mobility is even more important and her turret is just going to get taken out. But I mean, her turret could potentially provide protection and body block, but other than that, she's not that great. And last, we do have Bounty, which is her worst mode in the F tier, because she doesn't have range, she doesn't have damage, and her turret gets taken out so fast by other range brawlers. I mean, you just don't want to play her in Bounty. And in Bounty, you do see a lot of lanes, and with individual lanes, you're not going to be able to get much value off your bounce shots. So yeah, just don't play her in Bounty, please. So that is going to conclude all of our game modes, and now let's just look at some basic tips for Jessie. And then the first tip we have is aim your shots, which is pretty self-explanatory. Jessie has a really fast shot, and honestly, like, if you just aim it, you're not going to miss that much. Just predict where the enemy's going to move, and just aim it. Like, it's basically a penny shot. Personally, I would not ever use auto-aim, but if they are really close, I'm not against it. If you're practically touching them, you should hit most of your shots. And her shots, once again, do bounce, so she's not that hard to land your shots, and you can get a lot of value off of it. And with her star power, you can even extend your range by a very, very large amount, but we'll get into that in a bit. And another tip I have is go for enemies that bunch up. Like I mentioned before, it's really great if you can target groups of enemies because you can get tons of value off of it, such as tanks or Bull or Primo, or even like turret spawners. It's great value. And now going on to our second tip, we have know your turret. Jessie's turret adds a whole new level of depth to her, and it can counter tanks and pressure long-range brawlers from behind walls. It's really great, and you need to learn how to use it. You have to learn where to place it. Don't place it like really near a Bull or a Primo, because they're just going to kill it in a couple shots. Place it a few tiles away or behind a wall when the enemies are close to you. And against a range brawler, I would recommend that you do the opposite. Put it right behind a wall and it'll force the range brawler to peek around the wall and take it out. It's going to really pressure them and put them at a disadvantage because then you're going to know where they're going to move, so you can take them out much easier. Basically, just use it as bait. And additionally, her turret has a lot of DPS, which makes up for her lack of it in her basic attack. And once again, regarding auto-aim with your super, you can auto-aim it if you do need if you need a body block a bit and you're about to die. So auto-aim isn't the worst, but normally I would recommend just throwing it to where you want to so that you can get the best value off of it. And for our third tip, we're going to be looking at which star power to use. And to sum it up, I would basically say that in every mode but Robo Rumble and Heist, I would always recommend Energize. Energize increases her range potential by a massive amount, and if you hit her turret at max range right when you throw it, it can bounce to have the longest range potential in the whole game, which is crazy. Like, you wouldn't expect she would have the longest range. Also, the healing is over 2,400 damage added onto her turret, which is a lot of health if you think about it, because that can add to your total amount if you're using it to body block, and it can save your life. And to add on to that, I would say that in lower trophies, you might not want to use Energize, and you might consider using Shocky, because people in lower levels, no offense, but they don't exactly know how to take out the turret. Rather, in high levels, they do know how to juke around and take it out much easier. And another tip is to use it to target enemies that are hiding right behind a wall. If you throw it to the side of the wall that they're hiding around, and then shoot the turret, your shot can bounce all the way around the wall and onto them. And for our fourth tip, we have don't be too aggro. Now, Jessie doesn't have too much HP or burst potential, so she's one of those brawlers that are support and that where you can poke at enemies to make them low health, and then if you want, you can go in and finish them off or have a teammate do it for you. I would say that once the enemy has about 3,000 health, maybe, then you can go in and take them out. And oh, please do not spam your shots. I see tons of players spamming their shots, and just missing all of them all at once. Take it slow and guide the enemies into your shot. And now we're going to look at probably the most exciting part of the video, the hidden mechanic. And a lot of people don't know this, surprisingly, but it's that her bounce shots actually reveal the closest enemy near you. And if you didn't notice, just look at the gameplay here. You'll see that the shot always bounces closest to the enemy, to the nearest enemy, sorry. Whether they're in a bush or all the way across the map, it doesn't really matter. And this is even more noticeable with Energize, where you can mimic a heal with your turret to see where the closest enemy is. It is super effective in Robo Rumble too, because you can actually see where the next robots are coming. Or even in Showdown, where you always know where the closest enemy is. That is like really, really helpful, because then you can know either to run or engage. And guys, that is going to conclude our Jessie guide. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, comment down below and tell me what it is. I sure had fun recording it, and let me know what other brawler guides you would want to see in the future. Thanks to Coleman and MyStrudel for helping out with the tier list. I will put their social media in the description down below. But for now, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.